Hello everybody, welcome back to another one of these thrift store videos. Let's get the one thing over with and then get into my strange morning at the thrift store with what I found. The strange event that happened in the thrift store was there's a bit of a scuffle this morning, something very unusual, and I just happened to be looking in the right direction to see most of what happened. Yeah, I didn't see like everything, but I was towards the front of the room looking through the bins because typically the wares are up front, and then there are a bunch of clothes ones in the back, and all the people are going through there, going through t-shirts and all that stuff. And I looked up because I heard the back doors open to where they're bringing more bins out, and they usually bring those out and put them even behind where the clothes are in the way back corner if there's no room. So I happened to look up, and I'm pretty sure this is why this went down, or what I just kind of caught out of the corner of my eye was, when they're going through clothes, a lot of the people, especially do clothing, bring a cart, get it close to where the bins are, and they just start going through grabbing anything that looks like it might be worth grabbing and throwing it into the cart. And then when everything's all done, you can sort through your cart and see what is worth keeping, what's too stained or ripped or whatever, because otherwise you miss everything. It's just like this morning, or I think at least a dozen people charging those clothing bins and just throwing everything in carts. So occasionally things miss the cart and they fall on the floor or whatever, and I think what happened was the one guy threw a shirt, and I think it landed in the cart next to his. And he very quickly, he noticed out of the corner of his eye, so he went over and he grabbed the shirt out, but the person whose cart that it was thought they were taking something out of their cart, which is it's like a sacred safe zone. People will sometimes go there all day. Some people will spend a whole day there once or twice a week, and what they'll do is they'll fill their cart full of stuff, and then they'll just push it to the side of the room and put a sheet or something over it, and you do not touch that. That is it's an unwritten law that you do not even go near those carts, and people know what's going on. And so the guy took a shoe out of the bin and threw it at the other guy and smacked him in the side of the face with a shoe. And because it definitely innocent misunderstanding turned violent for no reason, overly aggressive, calm down. And then it started a brief scuffle, no real fists were flying. It was definitely more like a pushing, shoving match and screaming at each other, and other people came over really quick, and eventually the guy with the shoe thrown at his face just left in a huff and was screaming outside, just angry. And that was pretty much it. The whole thing went down a minute, but yeah, it was something that was for a second everyone's oh boy, there's gonna be a real fist fight going down with that shoe flying. But thankfully it was more just a screaming match. It didn't quite go to that level because they were surrounded by so many people that everyone was just kind of hey, good, chill guys. But yeah, that was just an interesting thing you don't see very often at the thrift store. So that was kind of the beginning of the day. And then I found some good stuff, and it was really weird what I found too. Before we get into the real weird stuff, let's go over just kind of the regular kind of things I found here. Some good things. I found one video game, and thankfully it is a PlayStation 2 RPG. Wild Arms 3, I've played this game before, pretty good. I like the series. 1 and 2 are definitely my favorites on PS1. But Wild Arms 3 has a manual and everything. It's not one of the super high dollar PS2 RPGs, but still, at this day and age, any kind of a PS2 RPG, yeah, grab it. One of these Franklin Computer Wordmasters, and some books, and a whole bunch of DVDs and things. I found a couple of these older erotic fiction books. Some of them sell well. Look them up. This one I'll probably actually read though. The Fly Girls, because it's all about stewardesses on planes. So if you liked Coffee, Tea, or Me, you'll love Fly Girls, the no-holds-barred novel of the stewardesses who swing in the sky and on the ground. Pretty fascinating. Just a couple of those types of things here. We'll just see. They either end up in the store or redonate or trash or whatever, those kind of things. We have Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, and I'm pretty sure we have Two Towers and Return of the King in this edition. I think so I'll have to check. Pretty sure we do already. Some of these paranormal romance anthologies. If you can find anthologies, this kind of thing, that can be worth selling. A lot of these individual, the Harlequin romance, none of that is usually worth anything unless it's something super, super rare, which to even know that would be crazy. But some of these more recent things, like the paranormal, anything kind of weird, they can sell well. One Dr. Seuss, not in great shape, but it's not one that I typically see. It's not one I've seen in a long time. Put Me in the Zoo. That was about it for kids' books. Not a whole lot today for that. Only one VHS. I found a couple. I looked them up on the side, and this is the only one that was worth grabbing because it has some solds that are in the like $20, $25, $30 range, and for something that's less than 50 cents. Good Housekeeping Kids Sing Along, Melody Magic in Toyland. That was it for that. Then a stack of DVDs and a Blu-ray, a lot of Disney. We have the Diamond Edition of The Little Mermaid. It is the Blu-ray DVD combo. Wreck-It Ralph. Cars. The Aristocats. The Disney DVD of Return to Oz. This is after the Shout Factory edition was a few years before this, and then Disney got distribution rights and did a DVD and a Blu-ray release. We have Weird Science. And a couple of these that I picked up, some of these self-help kind of DVD things, get-rich-quick kind of things, money management. You never know. Most of them are completely worthless, but occasionally there's one that actually does fairly well. And so these two I picked up because they were both had sold to more like the $10 range, and I paid like a quarter. So I saw The Dollar Dead and Rich Dad's Guide to Wealth. Grab those. We have Bewitched seasons 1 and 2 in black and white. It's probably a leftover from yesterday when I found all those 60s TV shows. It's probably just end up in a different bin. And two of these collections that on their own I wouldn't have picked up, but two of them in good shape. It's a lot of movies. I'll put them up as a lot, but it's a total of 16 family movies. A lot of these super cheap, straight to DVD kind of things that used to be straight to VHS type stuff, and usually includes like one or two older cartoons or something like that, like Our Gang or whatever, some stuff that is just cheap to get the rights to, or even just in public domain will be added on as extras. But 16 movies, allotted up, didn't cost very much to grab. Now for the weird stuff. It was a very bizarrely German day. I live in an area where there's a pretty decent German heritage, but a lot of that is just it hasn't really filtered into the things that we find typically. A lot of German language stuff is never like really imports or anything like that. But this was really bizarre. There's a whole bunch of German folk music CDs, and just a whole bunch in there. And there like had been 30 or 40. A lot of it was just it's worth pennies kind of thing. But I went through and I grabbed a stack and was looking up a few and grabbed a few that I think will actually sell, so maybe I'll lot them up. I'll have to look at them. But yeah, just grabbed a few that look like they're worth picking up for pennies on the dollar. But hits their folk music, volume 10. I have there a couple of just random ones that just seem like they might have been worth grabbing for the tiny price. There's so many, it's crazy numbers. This box set I think will actually sell for a decent amount, so that was worth grabbing. One that I'm actually going to take a listen to first, because in general I'm not really, I wouldn't say I'm a fan of German folk music, and not really, but there are some more modern takes on it that I actually do enjoy, of a few different, but it's very weird. Like I like it, but I only like very specific songs and like genre and like versions of the genre. Like I said, I wouldn't consider myself a fan, but Stephanie Hertel, I do like some of her more modern stuff, and she's on this compilation, so I'll check it out. That one might be for me, we'll see. And then the other thing they had was stacks, and most of them were scratched to heck, but I grabbed a few that looked interesting of German DVDs, like actual like German TV shows, German language TV. That's just not something you see here at all. And just grabbed a few ones that look kind of interesting. I'll check them out, see if I like them or not, whatever. And then a whole bunch of these. I grabbed a couple of these where it's someone who lived here, who definitely was German speaking, German immigrant, whatever, had a whole bunch of German volumes of different TV shows that are the actual, each one of them are the same thing. They're the actual PAL release DVD, and an actual pressed disc. It's a Region 2 PAL thing, a PAL player. And then each one of them they made their own burned NTSC version. So every one of these it's the original thing, and then it has a second disc to where they made a burned copy to play on an NTSC player here. So it's very, very bizarre. I have no idea if these are worth watching or anything, but I never get German language stuff here. Like, it just is not a thing. And this is just very fascinating, curious thing. So I'm going to check a couple of those out and see if they're worth hanging on to or not. Just a weird experiment. And then the really great little like cherry on the end of that ice cream sundae, the great thing to top off the German pickups video. Well, what would a pickups video be with all this German stuff without some Hasselhoff? Of course, it just happened to be there. A bunch of German volksmusik and like old TV shows and whatever, and then Hasselhoff. And it was so hilariously, stereotypically funny. But yeah, so that was just an odd day at the thrift store. Yeah, I hope you're having a great week, and I'll see you again.